Hello friends and welcome back to this channel. How did you get into UX? This is one of the questions that I get asked the most on Instagram, on LinkedIn, and from many people, also from people who are watching my courses. So everyone who's new here, my name is Patricia. I'm a freelance UX designer from Berlin, focusing on immersive tech and innovation. But my background is actually graphic design. So I studied graphic design and this sounds pretty similar or sounds like a similar field to UX, but it actually is not. So during my studies, I learned basically everything around print design. So we designed posters, we designed books, we did illustrations, but it was really print focused. So we didn't do a lot of digital design. And during an internship, I met UX design. We designed an app in an agency where I did the internship. And I really fell in love with the concept of UX, really focusing design around the user, creating prototypes, iterating design. And I knew that this was my career. Yes, I really knew that this was my career. I applied for different junior UX positions after my studies, but I didn't really get a lot of responses or even invites for the interviews. And I want to share with you 5 tips which get you your first UX designer job or your first product designer role. So tip number 1 is really understand what you're getting into. So during my internship back then, I talked the first time to UX designers and they told me how the job really looks like for them. And I felt that phase of investing and really checking if this career is right fit for me was totally worth it. So today it's much easier because there are already so many UX designers who are sharing their life, their job, their experiences, their learning, either on YouTube or on Instagram or maybe on LinkedIn. And you can always reach out to them. You can watch their videos, the content that they're sharing, and also really ask questions. Or you can also ask questions in the comments of this video if you want. So really try to imagine yourself living the life of a UX designer. Would you enjoy their day-to-day task? Does the lifestyle really reflect what you want to be? I think those questions are super important to think through before you really decide to go that path. So for me, after talking to many people I know, I reached out to a few people online and I was convinced that this field was the right field for me and that I really wanted to break into it. So the core elements of UX design seem to align perfectly with my passions of creativity and problem solving, and I really love working at the computer. I love new challenges, so I was really looking forward to all these things. Then point number 2 is build a portfolio. So what is a portfolio? To apply for a UX designer job, you need a portfolio with your case studies, so your design projects. You should be able to talk about your design processes, really understanding of UX principles, and also sense of visual design. You can analyze portfolios and see what makes them stand out. Look at how the designers explain his or her design process and how the story is really told. There are a lot of really great examples. I linked a few in the description box. Here's what I used. I used actually WordPress, which is super customizable. I used the Kalium theme for my portfolio back then, and I'm updating my portfolio right now. So I will use another template, but the Kalium template is still super great. It just needed a little change. So today many designers use Dribbble or Behance to really showcase their work, which means you can buy a domain and then make a website like I did. And if you're really serious about design, if you really want to get into the field, then I would highly recommend to really get that domain and host your own portfolio because it will stay there. And I feel you can even have both. You can have your website and you can still upload your work on Behance or on Dribbble. And that's what I'm doing. And 3 common ways to really build a portfolio, especially in the beginning. It's a challenge. So you can enroll to UX Bootcamp, and honestly, I didn't even know about UX Bootcamps existed back then. If I had known about that, I definitely would have chosen that route because this is super helpful. Generally, UX bootcamps not only teach you the basics of UX design, but they also help students really to build a portfolio of real client projects. And this is the biggest challenge in the beginning. But also, bootcamps cost at least, I would say, around $10,000. But if you want to invest it anyway, I would recommend to do it full-time. From the people I talked to, they said that doing that part-time is not that great. So in Germany, we have also Career Foundry. This is another bootcamp, and in Germany, if you are unemployed, the Arbeitsamt actually pays for the full course, and I think this is pretty cool. So keep that in mind in case you're unemployed. Also have a curriculum with instructors, have a lot of experience, you have mentors, you have some reliable sources, support from the group, and they really help you to build this UX foundation. And I think this is important. So getting a job requires more than just a certification. Some other well-established bootcamps are Ironhack, which I can recommend. And we have generally Assembly, we have GrowthX, Whitespace are some well-known bootcamps. I can link them below. So consider doing some research on your curriculum and having informational interviews with alumni to really make sure that this is the right bootcamp for you and that the quality is what you are looking for before you sign up for any of them. Tip number 2, you can do real client work on the side. So if you don't want to quit your full-time job right now, you can take side projects, on the side of your job. For example, you can help a friend's startup design the interface of a mobile app, or redesign your favorite website or your online tool, or come up with like a completely new idea. I actually did this. So I designed different projects back then, creating my portfolio. So you can help us design an interface of an app for a startup, for example. You can redesign your favorite website or online tool, or you can come up with a completely new design. I did a whole video about how to design a portfolio without any experience. So if you don't have any client projects, you can just watch it afterwards. But really learn how to apply your UX design principles to your mockups once you have the idea of the project. So the great thing about this industry is that this doesn't really require a degree. The best way to learn UX is to work with real products, with real projects in a team, and really use the method. So due to the fact that you have to come with your own schedule, your own curriculum and project, this approach requires a lot of discipline and side hustling. You can get as much feedback on designs and your portfolio as you can in a bootcamp or a course you're doing, because help isn't always available for you. But there are portfolio reviews from time to time. Adobe usually do portfolio reviews on Behance, for example, during live sessions or also some conferences, and I can definitely recommend that. And you need some extra time gathering resources, finding clients, and also creating a design community for yourself. So, and then number 3 is really initiate your own. So you can always, like I said, you can always really redesign experiences or come up with ideas or future projects. You can participate in hackathons and just make sure that you're using the right design methods. But I have done that a lot actually when I changed to UX. I participated in a lot of hackathons and created my own projects there. Then my tip number 3 is mentor. So I really love to be challenged because it really pushes me forward, and I think the same for you. I can recommend you to find mentors and friends who really challenge you. We live in a world where you can basically Google anything, and it's most likely that you will land your next job through connections, right? Although there is a difference between, like a proper mentor and maybe like a family member or a friend. So a mentor is really someone who is like 3+ years or 5+ years ahead of you in work experience and expertise. A mentor really sees your strengths and your weaknesses and can really, coach you to get where you want to be in a couple of years and to really grow as a designer. I think this is definitely the difference to a friend, because a friend or a partner who is someone who can just help you throughout the journey, who is like your study buddy or your helping buddy who's always there to support you. I personally think it's super important to have both, like someone who really guides you on the way, and also this kind of like helping buddy for, who's always there. So finding a mentor can be very challenging, and I don't find networking events very effective in really creating this meaningful relationships, but it might be worth checking a few out. I actually met a few really good friends now through meetups and also through conferences. So ask people you know or you work with if they know someone who might be a good fit for you as a mentor. You never know, maybe they recommend someone or they can introduce you to someone. or you could always, reach out to people on LinkedIn you really admire, visit their office, or offer them coffee, ask specific questions via email, and really continue the conversation from there on. Try find, alumni where you studied or on LinkedIn, and don't be afraid to really reach out to people, also to people you might have already lost contact, or strangers. Just start a conversation. And I also feel that not only LinkedIn but Twitter is a really great place to connect with designers, because they usually respond really quickly, at least from my experience. And I personally had the most success networking when really approaching people with curiosity, just asking questions. And my tip number 4 is never stop learning. New technologies and methodologies constantly reshape your UX design. You are never done learning, you will never be done learning, and you never know everything. And I feel, especially in the early stages of my career at least, I read a lot of UX books. I read every day. Thinking about it now, I think this was definitely the thing that made the difference for me. Reading all those books helped me so much to really gain the knowledge that I felt I missed during my studies. Even later in my career, now I'm still reading a lot of UX books, not that much anymore, but I think it's still really important to stay up to date. There are also some other cool things, for example, Chrome extensions like Muesli or Panda, where you get daily design inspiration or daily updates, also tech updates, and also a lot of really cool blogs. I'm also sharing a few UX books and blogs on Instagram, so definitely check out the posts there. And sometimes I really like to start the day reading around like 30 minutes or so, either articles that I saved or the book that I'm reading. Sometimes also some practical resources for UX design. And there are also some really cool online courses, for example, the Nielsen Design blog, Intercom blog, Interaction Design Foundation, the InVision blog. Also XD Ideas is pretty cool. I really like that blog as well. Yeah, so there are actually many. And tip number 5 is don't take anything personal. So I feel this is a tip for your whole life, basically, or also for my whole life. I remember when I got a portfolio ready and I was applying, to the first job, going through the process, in interviews and portfolio reviews and also design challenges. I was pretty scared and pretty intimidated by everything that was happening. So most of the interviews were actually in English, and my English back then was not that great. And of course I got rejected several times, that's totally normal, but sometimes even in the last round after several interviews, and everyone who has experienced job rejection or not getting a job knows how painful it is. So my tip to you, don't take rejection personally, really stay proactive and persistent, and really welcome rejections and even apply if you think you might not get the job. Really try it, and you never really know if it works out. And I actually did a video about how the whole application process looks like, so just check it out afterwards. So during the initial screening, you will be evaluated primarily based on your portfolio. So make sure it's impressive. It should be super beautiful. Of course, you will receive many rejections, and many companies may drop you after the first phone screen. But don't give up. I remember this one company I applied and I really wanted the job. So they emailed me that they will do a first phone screening in English. They said that I will talk about my CV background basically. And I remember how scared I was, and I actually wrote down all the questions I could think of that they might ask and all the questions that I could find online about like the first phone screening. And I wrote down all the answers that I want to say. I learned everything by heart, and after that I practiced with my dad. So he asked me the question, then I responded. Totally crazy, but I think it was a good practice in the end. Also, I didn't get the job. It's totally normal if you feel really overwhelmed at a few points, and looking back at it now, I feel things are changing and things are getting better. And although you feel pretty desperate in the beginning, things are changing. You will get a job at some point that will be really, pushing you forward, and then things are changing. A closed door is opening another door. I think this is a good mindset. You can always ask for feedback after rejection. That's super, super helpful, also for your personal growth. And last but not least, really stay active in the design community. You can write Medium articles. You can also be an active member on LinkedIn, on Instagram, really share your learnings there and your experiences and insights you gain from attending design events or also applying for jobs, building a portfolio. And you might find it a little bit intimidating when you're just starting out, but it shows that you're really proactive and valuable, and this is also good for recruiters and hiring managers. Also for me, it would have not been really possible to do this career change without the support of many others. So really stay resilient, ask for help, and remain persistent. You will find a way. So good luck with your career change and application process. Share any experiences or any questions you might have in the comments. I'm super happy to answer them and help you. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, hope to see you in the next video. Bye, my friends.